gamers? Today we're gonna do the Delhi guide for season 4 against an easy AI, because that's the only thing I can beat. I actually lost, but anyway, the plan is to teach you guys the season 4 Delhi, which is somewhat similar to the previous seasons, but obviously Delhi went through some changes. So we're gonna discuss that and show you guys kind of like the more updated version of Delhi, and talk about elephants and also the landmarks, right? So we're gonna start with 5 on wood, the close trees. So you usually, like in general, send it to any one of these 3 trees, but once you get better and better, you do want to send it on a tree that is closest to the berries, because once these guys are done with chopping the tree, then you're gonna go on the berries, right? So you don't want to necessarily go on this tree, because then you're gonna need to go from here to there. So you're gonna go 5 on wood, and you're gonna only let them chop the wood for total of 50, and then you're gonna send them onto the food, because as it is right now, I have 150 wood. So if I make a mosque and a house, I need 50 wood for the gold mine, which is why we're getting 50 right now. The first worker will make the mill, and then you can make a house with that worker as well. And the first worker that comes out will make a mosque. And you usually want to make a mosque, preferably near the gold, so you can heal your gold villagers if needed. But the most important is to be connected with the mill, so you reduce your wheelbarrow research time from the get-go, from the moment it gets finished. So right now the research time is like 4:10, and now it's like 30 seconds reduced because we have mosque connecting to it. Reduce your research time with the scholar. So you're going to be, as you can see, I chopped 50 wood. You're going to put 8 villagers on berries, and then you're going to be rallying onto the gold for a total of 3. You're going to instantly start all your upgrades. So whenever you play Delhi, you always go for all the researchers immediately, unless they're military upgrades in production buildings. So the moment a mosque goes up, you're going to get efficient production and piety, wheelbarrow and survival techniques. And when eventually you get a lumber camp, you're going to get forestry immediately as well. So when you put 8, I'm going to turn this on because I know you guys like that. 8 on food, 3 on gold. That's going to be enough for you to age up to feudal. And then what you want to do is rally the villagers onto this chopped wood already for a total of 50 wood, so you can build a lumber camp. And then you just, rally the villagers onto the wood until you have 15 on wood. That's right, 15. So, you can do 13, 14 as well, but I prefer 15 because it gives you enough wood to do whatever you need to do. Build and walls and so on and so forth. So, what you want to do is you want to pull 4. You want to preferably, so I messed it up here, but you want to pull 1 from the gold and 3 from the berries, so that you're building the landmark with 4 total. And you will leave 2 on gold, 5 on food, and then, like I said, all the other ones will be now going on lumber, because you're going to need a lot of wood, so you can build production buildings, blacksmiths, and everything else. Now, the difference between Dome of Faith and Tower of Victory. It's very simple. It depends on how you want to play, okay? If you like staying in feudal forever, then go Tower of Victory. If you're playing against like English or French or Abbasid or even Delhi Mirror, and in your league wherever you're playing, people are usually very aggressive, or Ottoman, right? Tower of Victory is good because your archers will have 20% attack speed, which is pretty crazy. And if you plan to all in feudal, like you just want to go all out in feudal, then Tower of Victory is good for that reason, and is probably going to be the better tech option for you. Like Tower of Victory, you shouldn't really look into it in Castle. I would say Tower of Victory, funnily enough, is the best in feudal, then Imperial, and then Castle, because Castle gives you access to elephants and knights, which you're probably going to be making. So you're going to get least value in Castle from Tower of Victory, which is why you don't build Tower of Victory and then rush Castle or something. So if you want to stick in feudal and you want to play aggressive, I would say go Tower of Victory. If you want to still play aggressive, but your goal is to get to Castle, and maybe that's where you feel more comfortable, then going Dome of Faith is the right way. So I'm going to show you Dome of Faith here, because we'll be going into Castle to explain you some stuff about the new changes to the H3 landmarks. So like I said, I'm going to be rallying onto the wood till you have between 13 and 15 villagers is fine. And after that, you're going to rally back on food. And you're going to keep 2 on gold. If you go Tower of Victory, you need 3 on gold. If you go, and Tower of Victory will also require a second mosque. If you are going with Dome of Faith, you need 2 on gold. So if you're going Tower of Victory, the time where you would be building a second mosque would be the moment you have 100 wood. So like in 20 wood, I would build a second mosque so I could produce scholars at the same time as getting the upgrades in the other mosque. So, the moment age up finishes, no matter what age you're in Delhi, you immediately need to start all the upgrades. That is the #1 thing you gotta do. So the first thing I did is I canceled Piety, whatever. For those that don't know, only Delhi researches, you can cancel them and the progress will not be lost. So other civs, if you research wheelbarrow 90% you cancel it, you gotta restart it, right? For Delhi, if you cancel an upgrade, you continue from where you left off after. So this is very important to know. So my Piety upgrade is like almost done. It's like 70% done. I cancel it and I go for Sanctity immediately. This is the upgrade that allows you to capture sacred sites before age 3. So you're gonna queue up Sanctity, then Piety, then All-Seeing Eye. You're immediately gonna start a Scholar from Dome of Faith because Scholars here are 65 gold. And like I said, you need 2 workers to sustain their production. You're gonna start Specialized Pick. You're going to cancel Survival Techniques and start Horticulture, then Survival Techniques, then Pro Scouts. And in the Lumber Camp, you will research Double Broad Axe. So you will see I'm about to queue all those up. Right here. There we go. Queued up, and queued up. Now, there are multiple ways to play Delhi in Feudal, whether you go Tower of Victory or Dome of Faith. But this is something that you need to understand and why I prefer stable. Why most pro players prefer stable. So, if I would go Barracks right now, I would only do that against Rus or French because they have Knights, okay? I would go Barracks because you gotta defend against Knights. And then they're gonna go Archers, so then you go Horsemen. So you go Spearmen, Horsemen, and then later on you go into Archers to fight their Spearmen, okay? But if you play against any other Civ, even if they go Horsemen, you should go your own Horsemen. Because you can just, fight back and forth, and you have healing and they don't. If you go Spearmen against a civilization that doesn't have Knights, you're only slowing down your army quite a bit. So it's going to make it harder for you to move around the map or harass your opponent or, cut off their reinforcements or whatever else. So have that in mind. It's not necessarily wrong to go Spearmen. It just slows down your army a lot, and your opponent will have a lot more kind of say in what's happening on the map. Now, even if you go Tower of Victory that only buffs infantry, if you're not playing against French or Rus, I would still suggest you to go Horsemen or Stables first into Horsemen. Now, what you want to do with these Horsemen is you just want to go out on the map, start harassing, maybe pick up, what's it called? Maybe, pick off a scout, maybe attack their gold villagers, their stone villagers, depending what their civ is. Just do some damage on the map. And then later on, you're going to add archers because they're obviously going to go spearmen because you're going horsemen. People in the chat are asking, what about Ottoman and Mongol? So Ottoman and Mongol will potentially open with Tower Rush if you're a Mongol with spears. And you will open with Military School if you're Ottoman, so they will also have spears. In that case, what I like to do is I like to make an archer range, 1 archer to just push away the potential further tower rushing, or to just push away the Ottoman spears, and then you go into horsemen. Because even though it's kind of weird to go into horsemen if they already have spears in the field, if you don't, you're forfeiting the map control in a way, because then they will go horsemen, so you will lose all the map control. So for example, they go spearman, you go archer, they will of course go horseman. So then if you go spearman, you forfeited the map. But if you go horseman, then you're having horseman archer versus spearman horseman fights, which either side can win, depending which side micros properly, right? So That's something that you need to consider. Again, it's not wrong to go Spearman Archer, but the higher levels you go, you will struggle, in my opinion, more and more to win with it, simply because the opponent will just, you know, do run bys and stuff like that and pick off your units and scholars and so on and so forth. So, once you take the map control with the horsemen, the next wood we will be spending on will be the 2 blacksmiths. So another mistake that I see people do is they make an archer range now too. The moment you make an archer range, you produce archers and you're draining your wood constantly, so you're never going to be able to make blacksmiths, right? So I put 1 scholar inside to just boost up the production a little bit. That's the first Dome of Fate scholar that came out. I put it in stables. You don't need to do that if you don't have the APM. So I made a couple of horsemen, and then I'm going to put the scholar back into the mosque. And like I said, my 150 wood extra will be spent on blacksmith, and then I'm going to make another one because you get free upgrades and the upgrades are slower. So getting 2 blacksmiths is pretty good. In the first one, you will start Steeled Arrow and Bloomery. In the second one, you will start Iron Undermash and Fitted Leatherwork. Now, this is in general how you always want to get your upgrades, but against some civs, obviously you can do it differently. Like if you're playing against French, like I mentioned earlier, or against Rus, and you're going Spearman, Horseman, obviously you don't need Steeled Arrow. So what you can do then is get Iron Undermash in one. Like for example, this one you get Iron Undermash and Steeled Arrow, and in the other one you would get the Bloomery and then Fitted Leatherwork first, because you're focusing on more melee composition. But that's something that, you know, you get depending what you're playing against, right? Same thing if opponent is going full melee, you don't necessarily need Iron Undermash first, but it still helps if you raid your opponent and kill some villagers. So in this case, this is what I like to do. You try to kill the scout from your opponent, so now the opponent is kind of, if they have 1 scout, they're kind of blind on the map. So once we started those upgrades, once we got all the eco upgrades going, then we go for the archer range, and Sanctity is almost done. When Sanctity is about 30 seconds done with the scholars inside, you want to take out 3 scholars and send them to the locations. Now, having horsemen allows you to pick off enemy units. So now, the enemy has 2 choices. They will either gather their whole army on one side and defend, or they will split their army in 3. Right? There's literally no other option. If they send their whole army here, then you don't go on that sacred side. Okay, you just pull back the scholar and you wait. If you see them going to the right, you can pull back that scholar and you got this sacred side on the left for free, and you got the middle one for free. If they split units into 3 different directions, that's where having this army helps, because you can go from one sacred side to another and just kill their units. Even if it's 1-2 spearmen, you can just kill them and capture the sacred sides then. The moment archer range finishes, I like to put 1 scholar inside and start pumping out archers because I want to catch up with that unit. My production is all set up. So all I got to do now is just produce units, and I've been producing horsemen this whole time. So now I'm just going to make archers, and I'm going to start walling off the sacred sites depending where the opponent's army is. So again, if the opponent's army is on the right side, I would send my archers to the left to wall this off because it would be free. There's no action going on there. But in general, what you want to do is if opponent army is going together, you can keep your whole army together and just capture 1 sacred site at a time. So doing this, capturing 3 sacred sites, forces your opponent to attack all 3. And if they do that, then you can pick up their army. If they let you have the sacred sites, great. But if the opponent is maybe out multitasking you, or you can't keep up with everything, just taking all the scholars you have and just taking this sacred sites and walling it off is fine as well. Like, you don't need to multitask at 3 different locations. Mind you, if the opponent is just not reacting at all, he's not doing anything, you should use these horsemen to attack your opponent and to try to raid wherever you can, whether it's their gold or food or wood or whatever. So, I'm going to start walling off the middle sacred site first, and I'm going to keep my army around here until I've secured the sacred site. Once the sacred site is secured, I'm going to move on to the next sacred site to secure that one. So I go to this one, my army is kind of close, so if something were to happen, I can engage. And if this sacred site gets interrupted meanwhile, it's fine, I'll recapture it again. Behind this, So another question that people ask is, when do I stop making an army? Well, that depends, once again, on you. If opponent is rushing castle, you don't want to stay in feudal forever. So if you see opponent is just not interacting with you at all, he's just, you know, in his base doing nothing, going castle, stop all unit production. And I pulled 7 villagers from wood and I went to make a new mill. So I'm putting a shit ton of workers on food, and I would cut unit production completely and try to age up to feudal. Mind you, if you have 3 sacred sites or even 2, you can move the villagers from the gold, because you're gonna have crazy good gold income. Look at that, that's just from sacred sites. So if you see opponent rushing castle, you want to rush castle as well, so you can deal with knights or men-at-arms with crossbows or your own knights. If opponent is actively fighting, like they're fully producing units, or you guys are fighting, then just keep producing units. And you can use the gold to either purchase food with market, so you can keep producing, or you can put like 25, 30 workers on food, keep producing archers, horsemen, and you will be able to age up even without mining any gold. So you kind of want to maintain your sacred sites. So in general, a good rule of thumb is, if you have sacred sites, you can skip units and go castle. If opponent is attacking your sacred sites or you're struggling controlling them, you need to keep making units in order to get them. So you don't want to age up with Delhi if you have 0 sacred sites and you age up to castle. It's kind of pointless, right? Because then you're not going to have that bonus gold to actually make castle units. So Delhi is not about like rushing castle. It's about getting castle at an appropriate time. What if they boom with TCs? Well, then you can just attack them with your whole army while walling off the sacred sites and then slowly going castle behind it. If you see that you can kill them, obviously you can keep making units. If you're like, okay, I did good damage, but I got 3 sacred sites, then you can move kind of on to the next stage. So as you can see here, I stopped making units completely. I got 26 on food, and my food income is slowly going to catch up, and I'll be able to age up as well. Now, there are 2 landmark choices. There's House of Learning, and there is Compound of the Defender. Compound of the Defender right now is way, way better. House of Learning has some cute, cool upgrades, but in general, Compound right now is way, way better. So, why is it better? I'll discuss it when we reach castle. Until then, you will see I had like 350, 60 wood. And what you want to do is add more production buildings. Which production buildings? That depends on you. If you like playing with men-at-arms, if you went like Tower of Victory, you can go barracks and go men-at-arm crossbow, which is very good comp. You can go knight archer, you can go knight crossbow, whatever you like. Literally, whatever you like playing, go for that. There's no wrong answer in my opinion. If your multitasking is good, if you like harassing, go knights. If you like to have one big army and go together, then you can go elephants, men-at-arm, crossbows, or something like that. That depends on you. So I'm aging up with 12 villagers. And I took 8 villagers and I put them on stone. Why stone? Because we want to start making keeps immediately. So, right now, if the opponent is pushing you, you should go back and buy time until you get to castle. If you have full map control, then and you have 3 sacred sites, then you can consider sacred site win. If the sacred site is 7 minutes, if you build 3 keeps, that's going to make it extremely hard for your opponent to break. So that can be your victory condition. You can make a decision right now. I'm going to put like 20 villagers in stone, build a keep here, keep here, keep here, and you can go for sacred site win. And in that case, you don't want cavalry, you can make stuff like men-at-arms and elephants to hold the sacred sites, maybe some siege like springles to kill trebuchets, and then your game plan changes. If you want to just continue attacking and stuff, then you can still mine stone, and you can, do a keep drop here and try to kill your opponent. Or the third option is to play very passive and maybe even do a keep here to secure this gold, secure this wood line, and secure this deer, because of this landmark. So this landmark not only reduces the cost of stone buildings that are in place with 25%, but it also has new upgrades in the building. So these are the keep upgrades that are usually in the keeps, but this landmark got a buff recently, and you can research village fortresses immediately. So what this does is it makes keeps acting like town centers. So once you do this, you're basically defending big areas of the map with keeps, while also at the same time they are town centers, so you can produce villagers out of them, which is very, very, very strong. So at the same time, by the way, as you're aging to castle, you want to be sending 5 scholars to all 5 relics on the map and try to get the 5 relics. So right now you'll see I'm sending scholars at every part of the map. I'm sending 1 here, 1 here, 1 on the right side, 1 is in the middle, and I'm going to send 1 here as well, because you want to pick up relics as soon as possible, because that's going to be a lot of extra gold income for you. And just like in Feudal, the moment you age up to Castle, you want to start all your upgrades immediately, as you can see here, because they're going to take quite a while to research. Now, I usually like to keep 3 to 5 scholars in Mosque, so I can actually continue and do my researches fast, because Castle researches might take a while, and you know they might not be in time. So you do want to have some mosques filled up with scholars. And now, like I said, it depends on you what you want to do. If you want to do a keep drop and try to end the enemy, like try to kill them, you can do even a keep drop in food here and try to disrupt their food eco. You can do a keep drop here. You can keep drop the sacred sites and maintain them. Or you can keep drop defensively like here and just play the long game. Whatever you want works, and that is dependent completely on you. That's why Delhi is cool, because you can do different things. Now, when to go elephants? Elephants got a massive buffs. Tower elephant was unchanged as far as I'm aware. They got more siege damage against buildings, but their stats, I think, are not changed. I'm not sure. Maybe their ranged armor got increased. But the melee elephants, the war elephants, got big buff. They now cost 400 food and 350 gold. And they do way more damage. Like, way more damage. The units that counter them are spearmen and crossbows. So if the enemy has a shit ton of spearmen, would not suggest. But if the enemy has a lot of cavalry and like man-at-arms archers, war elephants are really good against them. Now, the units also have new upgrades, armor beasts and howdahs, which also buff their health by 30%. And give them another 4 range armor and make them elite crossbowmen for the tower war elephants. Or for the tower elephants. And for the war elephants, this is going to give them 25% health and plus 4 range armor. But these are imperial upgrades, so just to make that clear. So yeah, elephants are great. And elephants are a very good way to kind of finish the game and push with keeps. Or defend sacred sites. But if you're just going to play passively, they're not that good because they're too slow. So it's going to take a lot of time for you to go left and right with them. So, there it is. Your goal from here on out can depend on many things. Like if my sacred site would get decapped right now, sometimes I'll decide to recap it and still go for sacred site win. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, well, my victory condition of sacred site is gone. So I'm just going to attack instead. Full on commit. That's completely up to you. And then in Imperial Age, you want to go always for Palace of the Sultan and put 4 scholars inside because it produces Sultan's Elite Tower Elephants, which are the new units, which are basically hand cannoneers on elephants, and they're really fucking good. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. That is Delhi in a nutshell, the new Delhi. I would say the major upgrade or the major buff with Delhi is Compounded Defender being able to research village fortresses so fast, because basically by the time you have enough stone to put down a keep, look, I'm going for a keep on the middle here, by the time your keep finishes, the village fortresses will more or less almost be done and you can continue your villager production. So even if your opponent went for like 2 or 3 TCs, you'll basically be able to catch up with workers eventually because of keeps, and you have gold income from sacred sites and relics. Boom! That's it. That's it. I hope you guys learned something new. If you're watching on YouTube, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. That is the new Delhi, the more updated version of Delhi. I would say if you are going Tower Victory, by the way, if you want to like push really fast in Castle Age, if you get to that point with Tower Victory, you can go with House of Learning and get the upgrade. It gives your men-at-arms +3 damage, plus House or Tower of Victory. They will be kind of like, you know, buffed up men-at-arms, doing a lot more damage and having more DPS. But if you're going Tower of Victory and you want to go Castle, you can still go Compounded Defender, because crossbows and archers will work really well while trying to defend sacred sites with 20% attack speed. So yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a great day. And if you don't follow me on Twitch or watch me on Twitch, check me out right now. I'm probably live because I stream every single day. Link is in the description. Thank you, YouTube gamers. Appreciate you. I'll catch you tomorrow with another video. Twitch gamers, let's keep going.